Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to JP Broadcasting, and welcome into the League Zero Super Formula Series here for round 3 out at Portland International Raceway. We commentator Hamish, Munro, joined once again alongside by Dean Biggles. Dean, the first time both of us get to experience Portland, and it's for the ferocious Super Formula Honda and Toyota cars here for this wondrous field where at the moment, Ndebe is leading this championship and he's been the man to beat thus far, but we know that there are drivers out there with massive pace. We know there are drivers out there who can bring it to them, and I'm looking forward to tonight because it's an unknown. Portland, it's something that, you know, we may only be aware of for an IndyCar or a NASCAR fan, and it's something that's fresh to iRacing, of course, came into iRacing this season, and I think it's going to be one that's going to throw up a heap of challenges to these drivers.
Yes, good evening as well to Hamish. It's the first time I've been here with you. I just literally downloaded the track earlier today. I know that you have had it, but you haven't done a lap around here. I've never done a lap, I think, of any track on iRacing yet. But yes, certainly one to be exciting for sure. A little overcast conditions as well too, as you can see. So I wonder if that's going to throw a little bit of spanner in the mix. But we're going to find out what these 23 gladiators it looks like today to start our round 3.
Yeah, 23 for round 3 at Portland, a circuit, of course, that is technically a street circuit mixed in with permanent race course as well. A little bit similar to the likes of Watkins Glen in the past, of it previously being a street circuit as well. Of course, owned by the city of Portland, so it's not going anywhere anytime soon, and it's a track that will throw up a heap of challenges to these drivers. As we're into qualifying at the moment, Jaden Callaway, who missed round 2, was here for round 1, sits top of the timesheets at the moment ahead of Ndebe back in P2, then Felipe Sarkis in P3 at the moment. Just to quickly run everyone through the championship standings as we sit here in qualifying. I mentioned Ndebe leads the championship at the moment on 63 points. Felipe Sarkis is P2 on 58. Jaden Callaway P3 on 40 points at the moment. Adam Merchant P4 on 37 points, with AJ Brenner inside of the top 5 on 34. The rest of the top 10 for you: Michael Briscoe, Dustin Smith, Fabian Sanchez, James Turnbull, and Jace Meyer at the moment. A couple of drivers outside or just on the bubble: Ryan Tilbor, Shade Bruffy, and David Shakernick, as well as Leo Delmar and KH Donahue for the top 15 as well. Everyone else, apart from Shaji Zerha, are on single-digit points. Shaji's on 10 in P16 at this stage. So for the rest of the standings, they've got a little bit of catching up to do here tonight, Dean. But I think it's going to be a track. As I mentioned, it's a bit of an unknown, of course, and I think it's one that could definitely throw up some challenges to these drivers, being it's pretty, relatively fresh. It's also a track though that kind of looks like a computer mouse a little bit from its track layout. So
mouse. Right.
Yeah, kind of, I don't know. Got a bit of that look to it. Maybe a door wedge, possibly as well. But I'm excited. I mean, it's the first time both of us get to see a race here, and how well the open wheelers deal with this circuit as well. I'm sure Portland's going to be on a multitude of calendars across iRacing over the next year or so. I would expect they're going to definitely send, NASCAR here for road racing. Same with IndyCar. They'll very likely send the Super Formulas and the Super Formula Lights here as well, possibly even the Indy Lights, the GTs and the Supercars. Do they send the GTPs here? Do we think they could possibly run around this track, Dean?
Why not? Absolutely, why not? I mean, the virtual world, you can do anything you want.
This is true. It's true. We could even send the Lotus bathtub around here, and it could race around this track.
Those off-road Bigfoots and things like that.
Send a Pro 4 around here to be epic. I love the Pro 4 truck. That'd be fantastic. Amel, though, has now started to come back at Callaway. He's gone pole with a 56.64. So it's a very quick lap time in this car, Dean. I mean, under a minute long. It makes you wonder how fast it would be in an actual Formula One car. Could they pip the 50 seconds around this place? Based on the fact that it's majority of it's the long straights, and the only real tight sections is the first sector of this circuit. So it's going to be fast paced. But do we think there's going to be danger ahead for some drivers? Possibly some incidents that could occur to them.
I'd say the hairpin into turn 1 and 2 as you can see on the track map there. That's possible overtaking opportunities and possible a little bit of danger. Let's pick somebody to go on board with for the famous Hamish on-lap hot lap guide for a man that's never driven the track, but he can at least know it.
We've got about a minute to do it, so we need someone who's about to go onto a lap. Who's that? Number 21's just gone on a lap, or who's at the final corner at the moment? Here we go. Let's go. Number 21. I'm trying to find out who it is. Oh, it's Leo Del Mar. Leo Del Mar. Yeah, Leo Del Mar. So as he runs down towards turn 2, of course, trying to keep this car as tight to the apexes as possible, runs it wide, comes back in tight again. It's very similar to turn 2 at Phillip Island, which we'll see later in the season, where it's almost double apexes. Then you run around the fast-flowing section up towards turn 4, hard under brakes, kind of tightens in, similar to turn 2 at the Red Bull Ring, which we've seen previously this season as well. And then running down through the fast-paced, almost Maggots and Beckett's-esque sort of fast-paced chicane there, and the long run down the... Well, we could even say almost back straight of Monza vibes here for the long back straight into the braking zone. Tight run through, keep it tight again, almost straight line the corner and the braking zone at the final corner as well. As qualifying comes to an end, we nearly got there, team. We nearly got a whole lap in. Well, I mean, there are a lot of parts to this circuit that are actually it's got similar characteristics to a lot of other tracks. And I think it's going to throw up some great racing, and I almost feel that they're almost the best portions of those other tracks that it kind of pulls from. But for race 1 this evening, DBML will start P1 ahead of Antonio Bianchi for P2. AJ Brenner, Jaden Calloway will make up your top 4. Felipe Sarkis, Leo Del Mar for the top 6. Michael Briscoe and Dustin Smith for the top 8. Fabian Sanchez and Shade Bruffett for the top 10. Larry Johnson, Sharji Zerha for the top 12. Gareth McAllister, Nick Patterson make up the 7th row of the grid. David Shakurnik and Cameron Keel for the top 16. Xavier Sernav, James Turnbull for the top 18. KH Donahue, Jace Meyer, Ryan Tilbo, Arturo Mayorga, Gal Rolls, and Brock Morris makes up our 24 car grid here this evening. And the most notable name missing from our list is Adam Merchant, arguably one of the fastest drivers in the field, missing the race here this evening.
Well, that's one you can maybe choose to miss if it's one of those relatively new tracks that they feel that they're not going to be comfortable on.
He may not own it. He may not even own the track. And that's one of the challenges you face, putting a brand new circuit in. So for Bianchi and Callaway, of course, the teammates, they're starting completely adrift of each other. They could start to work together, maybe to put some pressure on a D-Bay, but he's actually been... Mel's been almost a bit of a dark horse, I would say, Dean. I mean, the focus has been on Jaden and Adam in the first 2 rounds, but he has been the most consistent and clean driver in the field across both the Red Bull Ring and Portimao last week.
Consistency is absolutely key when it comes to championships, hence the reason why he's leading the championship. So Bianchi at the moment, Antonio lining up next to him. He must have stolen that. He must have just stolen that pole position in the dying stages of that race, didn't he? Because he wasn't pole. He was P2 for some time as we're waiting for a couple of drivers to jump into their cars. Sort of a gentlemen start your engines kind of thing. I mean, imagine I'm jumping in from the old pit road there, literally jumping the fence there and climbing into your car and booting it all up like they used to do.
Do an old Lamar start.
Yeah.
A Lamar start on the straight, possibly. A bit like how they do it. I do appreciate that they do that at Charlotte. That is a nice touch to Charlotte Motor Speedway, that even on iRacing the cars line up, 90 degrees parked, and they drive away for the warm up lap. I think that's pretty cool for Charlotte for the rolling starts. But we've got about 15 seconds until lights are going up. For Amel, he needs to maximise this start and maximise his run into turn 1. For Bianchi, if he gets the run, he's got to try and get across to the inside line as quickly as possible, or at least try and make it too wide with Amel through turn 1, so he gets the inside line at 2 for the direct corner straight after. The pressure's on them, though, as the lights are going up for the start of Portland International Raceway. Race 1 coming your way. 13 laps or 15 minutes. And we are underway at Portland for the first time in League Zero Super Formula Championship action. Callaway's made contact with Amel, and Amel's gone off at turn one. It's a Prost and Senna moment as he's off the road. And that there, well, you'd have to argue that might be pipped on Callaway, because that was a big, big moment down into turn one as they run round turn four now, up towards turn five. It's a long, fast run at the start of this circuit. And Dean, for Ndibe and for Jaden, there may need to be some investigation on that one.
That was, you called it perfectly. Prost and Senna moment, wasn't it? It's absolutely coming together. Just no breathing space allowed between those two drivers at the very start. They wanted to fight for that first corner, and they did, and they fought themselves off the track. And Imal currently went straight back into pit lane. Probably a bit of frustration too, I'd say, creeping on that one now.
Yeah, needed a tow to get that car back. The full rear right hand side wheel of the car getting dislodged there from the contact at turn one. So now he'll have some comeback to do here in race number one this evening. As I mentioned, it's 13 laps or 15 minutes. Time certain. That's a car spun round. That was David Shakurnik, and I think Nick Patterson have been involved. Both cars, big damage. I think Patterson, the worse off for them. Yeah, he's had to tow back to pit lane. Shakurnik, nowhere to go in that moment. So it's unfortunate for him there, Deem, as we ride with Fabian Sanchez, hot on the heels of Leo Del Mar at the moment. As we run down through the fast-paced left into the long, almost right-hander down towards the next braking zone. As that's a car off there, that's Xavier Sernar down for Rodent Racing. The number 12 car now down to P20. So they're dropping quick and fast here, Dean. And I feel it may be a race of they become comfortable with this circuit in race one, and then they really push forward in race two. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And you've got to understand, well, perhaps comprehend the situation of how much practice have they done under racing conditions as well, too? I'm sure being relatively new track, of course, to iRacing, there's one thing to go out there and put in banker laps, by yourself over and over and over again and put times in, but you're not probably used to those standing starts. You're not used to having another 23 cars around you at the same time, so that might be catching some of these drivers off this evening.
Yeah, that's what it really comes down to, how important a race practice is, a stint practice is for you, and using what is at your disposal in iRacing to your advantage. So using, the AI to be able to run an AI race around a new circuit you may have never had racing experience around, just to learn some of the different lines and learn the kind of pressure that's going to be felt when you're surrounded by, 23 or 24 other cars on track. And because realistically, Dean, lap practice is one thing, as we see this was a Mel off track with that big damage. So let's just quickly see how this has happened with Callaway. It almost looks like he got a great jump back in P4, now up to P3. You'll watch him dart to the right-hand side. Oh, it's really, really deep.
Yeah. Did not stop that at all in time. And
No.
It's unfortunate for Noddy, because it just had nothing to go. Look at that, absolutely smashed suspension at the back there. That's the reason why I had to tow.
Completely dislodged. The rear end is the mechanic's going to have to work on that one to get it fixed up for race two. But as we ride on board with Sanchez in P7, he wants this move on Michael Briscoe. Can he get it done round the outside? No, he can't. Briscoe sends it that little bit harder. Last of the late breakers as they run now down through the final corner back onto the main straight here at Portland. So yeah, I think there's no better form of practice when you're practicing for a race like this, even for an endurance race or something like that, Dean. You can cut hot laps all you want. There is no better practice than race practice. And if there's an opportunity for you to do either an official or even an AI race prior to your event that you're wanting to do well in, say League Zero, it will pay you big dividends, because you learn so much through a race practice. You learn about, obviously, your pit entry, pit exit. Also, how well can you fight yourself through the field? What is it like trying to battle through the field as well? And getting yourself set up in a race mentality is one of the biggest challenges drivers face, as Smith is now off the road into the grass there. Put some blades on it. He's looking to cut some weeds.
I think I might have spun again too.
Yeah, I think it might be self-inflicted. Really unfortunate. And he did it again as he returned to circuit as well.
It's got all that
which
kitty
is a
litter on the
shame.
back there, and of course when you get back on there, it's just like rolling on ice skates. It's just
Yeah.
no traction. What he's lost his front wing too, as he's come
Yeah,
back
he's
onto the track there. But
it's not looking good.
deployment you can see of the push to pass, essentially the overtake button that they have, and the lights still blinking on there. They're consuming it, and if it's just flashing that once or twice, even recharging it, as you can currently see on board at the moment with Jace Meyer.
As we run with Jace Meyer, he is still applying this pressure now, hot on the heels of Larry Johnson. So he's wanting to try and fight his way forward. He's got that Honda power, of course. I wonder if there's VTEC in those Honda-powered Super Formula cars, Dean. I mean, surely they get VTEC and the Toyotas get turbo. Just make it really, really accurate for us, with those power units.
That's a possibility. There's one for the chat as Blanchie in the lead there, just gets the fastest lap currently at the moment with a 2.4 second gap. That'll be an interesting one to see what would happen with Noddy, if Noddy was to have a chance to go at him too for now. Again, to see the pace between those two drivers. If he got a huge... Well, he's got a bit of advantage, of course, because of that turn one shenanigans that occurred. And we go back and have a look at what happened to Nick Peterson.
Yeah, I mean, Bianchi at the moment, he's almost been given a lifeline from his teammate. This is the moment with Patterson. Came in really hot with... Oh, that was the car in behind. Just drilled him. It's just... And it's such a... being a new circuit, you're learning the nuances as you go along and understanding where you can attack, where you can apply the pressure. Oh, my God. That could have ended in tears for not just one driver then. As Sernar...
This is it. This is it. Turn one. It just catches him off guard. Hey, good on him. I mean, that was that's risking your own car to be absolutely smashed almost into the fence there to avoid colliding into another car. So yeah, hats off for the driver for doing that. He could have easily slabbed into the back of him and spoiled both the drivers' night, but elected not to and just spoiled his own.
So as this battle now continues with Johnson in behind Jace Meyer now. So Meyer's gotten past him. He's now got Gareth McAllister just in front of him at this stage. These guys are battling for P12 on the road at the moment. They've got P11 about 1.2 seconds up the road from them in Gale Rolls, who's about 3.2 seconds off the back of the top 10 with KH Donahue as Bianchi sets another fastest lap of the race, a 57.71 that time by for the race leader in the 17 car, the Italian at the front of the field. As we can see, Buffett applying some pressure still onto the back of Michael Briscoe. So, who's that's off? Turnbull. Oh my God. I mean, it's understandable, Dan. I mean, it's a new circuit. You're learning these little nuances, as I said. Depends how much practice you possibly could have had. Could also be your setup too. But these are the difficulties with brand new circuit. These are the difficulties with something that is the unknown. And he just washed wide and could not get it turned in and into the wall.
Lucky for the tyre tethers. Keep those tyres back into the place that they need to be. There's our race leader at the moment. So the Italiano dominating here in Portland early.
How well does he do though, fighting through that reverse top 18? How well does he do in race 2, fighting his way forward? As Sarkis now gets the fastest lap of the race, 57.57, taking that from his teammate Sanchez, who previously had it at a 57.65. So there's only tenths in it. There's nothing in these fastest laps. It's a blink and you miss it scenario. As we can see, Sarkis trying to keep this wheel smooth, and this has now played off well for him as well as Callaway with that moment with the DBML, because it means that Sarkis now leaving race 1 would lead the championship, and if he can back that up in race 2 and Amel doesn't have such a good run, he may leave Portland as the championship leader prior to the next round.
Be the situation panning out. Still up there, Flabley Sanchez there on the back there of Leo Damas. That's the battle that's been brewing for a little bit. That's a battle for P5 currently in the moment in your pictures. You can see little bit of overtaking opportunities, a little bit of weaving going on onto the possible overtaking opportunities into turn 1. Make it stick. Hug up against the wall. Hug it like your favourite grandma, was Martin Brundle would say, and that is job done. That's classic 101 overtaking in Portland.
It was a great move there as Myers had a moment and now had to tow back to pits as well, Dean, too. So he's now back outside the top 20. Arturo Mayorga just dropped a couple of spots.
Same one
I think
again?
he might be in a battle with Keel.
Oh, same spot.
Oh. Was that the same spot or was the...
Yeah, same spot from the previous incident that we saw from Xavier earlier as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And trying to make it stick. Somebody's going to come around and slam. No, that's just a separate incident from Gale.
Well, we've got 2 laps left for the race leader, Antonio Bianchi, at the moment, as he enters turn 1. This battle continues on with Felipe Sarkis trying to chase down AJ Brenner at the moment in the 4 entry. So it's major pressure. Brenner flying the flag for his teammate, Adam Merchant, who's not here tonight. Sarkis would love to get maximum points over Adam for not being here. This has turned into a fairly good race tonight. Then, he's had a major blink and he seems to have disappeared out of the existence.
He has. AJ's not coming back on the track at the moment. Felipe's still got to be wondering where he is, and there he is. He appeared for a second. Thankfully, he's a little bit too far back to be worried about an overtaking opportunity, but that's AJ's connection there from the US of A.
Sarkis, though, would probably be hoping that he may get a ping flag, even though it is the last lap, it can still occur.
Yeah.
So if the ping gets bad enough, he will get sent back to pits. Will Brenner.
Just want to go back to the race start of that one real quickly, because if we don't show that one, we won't have time, unfortunately, to show it again.
Yeah. Let's go gearbox. I want to see how fast Callaway just approaches him as well.
Bang.
There it is. Oh my god. I mean, it's like he didn't even break it all, Dean.
Yeah.
You know, he's just drilled him. You know, and whether that's driver error or not, I don't know. But it you know, for someone with the number 1 on their car, that seems like a bit of a rookie mistake to make at a circuit like this, you know?
It kind of feels to me like he'd expected it that straight to go a lot longer, didn't it? But here he is right now.
He kind of got caught out as Bianchi comes down towards the line. He will take victory in race number 1 this evening at Portland. Could be argued thanks to the actions of his teammate on the race start. AJ Brenner will come across the line P2, Sarkis P3, Callaway P4 with Fabian Sanchez for your top 5. Leo Del Mar, Michael Briscoe, Sharji Zerhart, KH Donahue and Shade Bruffett will make up the top 10. McAllister will then finish out of P11 here this evening. Larry Johnson, Arturo Mayorga, David Shakernick, Ryan Tilbort, Brock Morris, Evierson, Cameron Keel and Dustin Smith makes up the running order here this evening for race 1. So 13 laps down. We've still got another race to go. 40 laps of Portland.
And pit stops as well, isn't it? That's going to be the key one. That could be a pit stop for the first time for these drivers in their entire life.
It could. Do we have, and I ask this as genuinely as possible, do we have more than 10 finishes in this race?
Ooh, that is a good ask. There's our Heat 1 results on your screen right now.
Yeah, as we mentioned, Antonio Bianchi taking the win. AJ Brenner P2. Felipe Sarkis will now take the lead of the championship, finishing at a P3. Jaden Callaway, Fabian Sanchez, Leo Del Mar, Michael Briscoe, Sharji Zerhart, KH Donahue and Shade Bruffett for the top 10. Gareth McAllister, Larry Johnson, Arturo Mayorga, David Shakernick, Ryan Tilbort, Brock Morris, Evierson, Cameron Keel, Dustin Smith, Gale Rolls was 3 laps down in P20. And then there were 4 drivers who I don't think went any further than what they did, including previous championship leader in DBML, who finishes 12 laps down, as well as Nick Patterson. They're at a P24 and P23. James Turnbull, Jason Meyer, laps down as well, outside of the top 20. So, race 1 in the books. First race at Portland for us, Dean. What'd you think of Portland?
I'm loving the turn 1. It's a hairpin that you can cut through close to that fence there, and then you've got a tight left number 2 turn to follow that one up, and then That's the key for the overtaking opportunities. Of course, you get that little you call it squiggly bits. They kind of high some S's, some curvature and stuff like that into sector 1 and to sector 2 as well. The long back stretch there with your mouse kind of nose that you mentioned there for sweeping. Couple of S's towards the end of it. It's interesting. It very is. I mean, we have to see some good longer racing conditions that we're going to see right now. As you can see on your screen at the moment, 40 laps that we're going to have this time around. That'll be interesting. Pit stops, another practice race start for the drivers as well too. If I was out there right now for the warm-up too, Hamish, I would be practicing some race starts just to make sure you get it off the line there. And
yeah.
And then especially your braking point into that turn 1 is crucial.
Yep. I mean, we saw how crucial it was for race 1 and how that affected so many drivers in the field. I'm interested, I think, Portland tonight, it's a big test. We've already seen that in race 1. I feel like Long Beach next week is going to be even more of a test. Even though it's a track that these drivers would have many laps around, it's Long Beach. It's surrounded by concrete barriers. I love Long Beach. I know that not everyone does, but I think it's a track that's going to offer up some fantastic racing. And as we have this US triple header across these next 3 weeks now, with Portland this week, Long Beach next week, and then Sebring, I think it's big test. I think Sebring's going to be good. I think Sebring's going to be good in terms of on-track battles we can get. I am worried a little bit, though, about how easy the field can spread. But I think tonight at Portland, race 1 proved that you can get some good battling happening. How well they're going to be able to do that over 40 laps, we'll find out. And then, Long Beach next week, it's going to be a game of survival and drivers keeping themselves in check and making sure that they're buying a ticket to the end of the race. Because you don't want to end up at Long Beach, go into the fountain lap 1 and end up becoming a statue at the fountain and not a driver that comes past it.
It's the USA Monaco. I always think that if they had a Monaco GP anywhere in the United States, then that's the one, because the walls, the concentration level. Here we go. Well, so I think this is practice start. Yeah, look, this is a practice start here for the Canadian. Yeah. Brilliant, because he went out there, he did a little out lap, he came back in, practiced his pit stop, and now he's practiced his race launch. Although I probably would have done it, there I said a little spin, I probably would have done it on the start-finish line, of course, just off close to the fence there if there's nobody around. Just do your entrance into turn 1.
Or cut turn 1, park it where those little kind of bollard things are, the signs, and then do it in there so you're not in anybody's way as well. Or announce you're doing a practice start and park it on the very inside of the circuit on the main straight.
Yes.
For Mel, he's got work to do in this race. He's still cheery and happy after race 1. I'm seeing in the race chat at the moment. No worries, was mentally prepared for the chaos this race from Mel there in the iRacing chat. So he doesn't really seem so hurt by it, but he is now struggling in practice. So it's a tough go.
Right, sorry, for a second, I can't remember what it was, but
not what you want. Not what you want to happen.
It was Noddy actually doing.
Yeah. Good old Mel.
See, nobody's around you at the moment. Here we go. Noddy, get your practice.
The problem is he's got 5 seconds left.
Yeah,
that's the problem. He hasn't got enough time to do the practice start, but
he's loving his team out there, mate. He's got to fix that car up now. This is a simulator. That means your car's damaged. You will not be able to start the race.
Ferrari had such a poor strategy play in that race, they couldn't even get Emil back on track after he broke his car.
That's true. All right, gridded up for our main feature race.
2. Yep, of course. I misspoke earlier. It's a reverse top 5. I will get used to it after this week. I promise. Reverse top 5 for race 2. Fabian Sanchez starts at a pole alongside Jaden Callaway with Felipe Sarkis, AJ Brenner, and Antonio Bianchi making up that reverse top 5 on the grid. The rest of the grid will start as they finished race 1, including Leo Delmar in P6, Michael Briscoe, Shaji Zerha, Cage Donahue, Shade Bruffett for the top 10, Gareth McAllister, Larry Johnson on the 6th row, Arturo Mayorga, David Shakurnik for the 7th, Ryan Tilbor, Brock Morris, Xavier Serna, Cameron Kill, Dustin Smith, Gail Rolls, Jason Meyer, James Turnbull, Nick Patterson, and the previous championship leader in DBML will start at a P24 with all the work to do across 40 laps of Portland tonight for Amel. He's gonna have to get a bit sprightly, Dean. He's gonna have to try and fight his way forward as best he can. As we got 5 lights up at Portland, race 2 underway. It was a great start from Callaway off the line, but Sarkis and Sanchez have gone with him into the braking zone. He wants an outside line. Sanchez on the inside. Big contact before turn number 1. It's Tilbor that has gone round as we scramble on through. It's another car round. That's KH Donahue as Amel's already making moves up the order as well from the very back of the field. But it's a scramble, Dean. It is a push to pass scenario for some drivers, and for others, it's a little bit hot on the gas pedal, and you've all of a sudden gone round, or you've gone into the wall.
We're expecting somebody's out on the kitty litter already too, trying to get back on, maybe just trying to get out of the way for some of the drivers. As that, usual shenanigans on the first lap of the feature race in the first couple of corners. Overtaking opportunities. Here's AJ trying to make a move there on our previous race winner of Blanchie that just went out for Heat 1. Early days, remember, gentlemen, you got 39 laps to go. Now, as they're weaving, trying to break that slipstream. It's almost like watching Indianapolis, isn't it? IndyCars and Indy.
I feel one driver then may have used more than their 2 allotted moves there, Dean, as Callaway's now taking the lead from Fabian Sanchez. So could he make it a double win tonight for that team? The Sim Magic entry at the front of the field now for the number 1. It was the 17 of Antonio Bianchi that won race number 1. For Sanchez, he wants to continue pushing forward. Sarkis would love to extend his now championship lead over Ndibe Amel and the rest of the field. Mind you, Amel's already up 7 positions. That's a car on its roof. That's Gale Rolls and Gareth McAllister that have been involved. Ironically, it was not Gale Rolls that rolled over. It was McAllister.
Coming deep earlier here. I wonder if he's come back onto the track. He has. No, he hasn't.
Okay, no, they were not involved. All right.
I'm trying to see where Gareth...
we may have to do the sneaky reversing.
Here it is, yes.
Because he's already gone.
It's a big one.
It's a net coat on the tyres. I reckon. Big net coat on tyres, possibly.
Yes.
Yep. Like a pogo sticker. Xavier Sernar has now gone round as well. Down at turn 2.
You could beach it there. Oof.
Oh, he was very lucky not to. I reckon if you're in the Super Formula Light, you beach it at that point. I don't know why. It just seems to like to beach it more than the big daddy of the Super Formula car. Has he done this? Oh, it was a big lock up. So he didn't even spin. He just kind of straight line the corner.
Lucky he stayed there.
Yeah, he played the smart game, held his brakes, then reversed it back when he could. As Brenner is now putting that pressure on Bianchi for P4. Oh, he wants it up the inside. Gets the run onto the main straight as they run down towards turn number 1. So Brenner's putting the pressure on him now at this point. I've also seen as well, Dean, once we get off this battle, Shakurnik has gone into that dreaded tyre barrier at the final corner. And he has now had to tow back to pits as well. So the dreaded tyre barriers, Callaway's off. So they're dropping like flies at the moment here, Dean. We've still got, 36 laps to go. This was Callaway at turn 1. How was this? Oh, he clipped the wall as he turned in. Now, not to question the validity of drivers' racing ability, but how do you hit the outside wall as you're about to turn into a right-hand corner?
Yeah, just tied in too tight as David goes off into the kitty litter and bang into the tyre wall at the end of the final corner. That's been catching. First corner's been catching everybody off this evening, and the final corner's been catching everybody off this evening. It might be a race of attrition, as you mentioned, because we currently got 3 drivers sitting down on pit road with some major repairs there. Ryan didn't start the race, unfortunately.
Oh, no, he started. He's out. He was out as of lap 1. So he did start the race, but he didn't make it past that moment at, I believe it was turn 1.
Slow off the start.
On the main straight, slow off the start.
Oh, he gets tagged.
Oh, yeah. Line. Yeah, that was the car that we saw go into the wall. So it was a very, very early loss for Tilbor.
Everyone's kind of
it was his teammate. It was Donahue's teammate. That was Donahue who spun round, but it was his teammate or him that was involved in the initial contact with Tilbor before turn 1. So very interesting how this can play out, and very interesting for Jaden Callaway. He's now dropped out of the lead and down to P11. Do we think, again, and I don't mean this personally, do we think karma for turn 1 race 1?
Yes.
Or within simple mistake?
I was seeing Michael. Was it Dustin? No, that's a lap car already, sorry. They're getting past.
Yeah, Xavier Cernat, who's now been passed by them. So, but I mean, Jaden's got work to do. And now the problem for him is as well, 4 seconds behind him and fast approaching is in DBML in that Ferrari livery car. So he's going to have some work to do with Jaden, because the faster that DB catches him, the more pressure that's going to be applied as we run around the fast right-hander down towards the braking zone of the second to last corner. Send it! Oh my God! I mean, call him a postman, because he put a stamp on it when he sent that one. And now comes around the final corner and has taken a top 10 position for Jaden Callaway. That was undoubtedly, Dean, a big balls move. I mean, that was big cojones on that one.
Honey badger Daniel Ricciardo, like stamp has sent it, absolutely, as you said. Arturo goes into pit road from P18. Wonder if he copped some damage. He's also been joined by Gale Rolls. So they're heading down there early on this one, on lap 70. There's a blinker as well, too, from AJ again. Yeah, we saw that, didn't we, in the first heat race. So hopefully his internet holds up, and, you know, somebody at home doesn't go, oh, I can't connect to Facebook, so I'm just going to go restart the router and drop him out of the session completely. I've heard of drivers had that happen to them before in the past, actually. Some family member goes, I can't get on Facebook. So they just go reset the router, and of course don't realize you're halfway through. And that was during endurance race too. It was even more horrible.
Yeah, I feel like that there may be an excuse for scolding verbally, Dean. I must say, I'm sure there was some swear words thrown, understandably, out of frustration. As Callaway, yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
Callaway out the inside of turn 1, gets the job done and moves up to P9 on the road. So he starts to pick them off singularly, almost like an artisanal grape picker. As P14 James Turnbull now gets that job done on Nick Patterson into turn 1 as well. So Callaway is being patient now throughout this run. He's not letting himself get flustered. He knows he's got, 33 odd laps before the checkered flag. He has time to pick cars off. Plus he's also then got the pit stop strategy as well. So as this race starts to materialize and everyone starts to come back together again in a beautiful symphony of racing, we may find that he is actually once again going to be in that battle for the lead if he can just keep on pushing forward and maintaining pace with the leaders and getting natural attrition of overtakes done.
That's what it's all about. You're absolutely right. Look at the speaking of overtakes done, there it is. Somebody off into...
Is that tyre barrier going to claim another victim? It's becoming a serial killer at this point.
That was Nick Peterson.
I think he actually survived it, Nick Pedersen.
Sorry, yes,
not Patterson. Pedersen, yeah.
As I put in brackets. Because KD was using his overtake, so, like mad, you don't only have so much time of it, and he was just trying to get that overtake done.
You've only got 200 seconds across the whole race, so, you've got to be able to use it wisely, as Callaway's about to get a freebie here from Larry Johnson. So he now sits P8 on the road, and it is becoming the comeback of dreams for Jaden Callaway in the number 1 car. Next car in his sights, Shade Bruffett at the moment, as he runs around the final couple of corners as well. So for Callaway to be back up into P8, down from P11 by lap 10, it's looking pretty decent for him here, Dean. I mean, he's got time to catch the leaders. He's only 7 seconds off the lead. Plenty of time for him to make up.
And he's the fastest car on the track too as well. So Jade can see in his shades the shade of Shade Bruffett. There you go. I was thinking about that when you said that. This further up the field there, we do have a nice little squabble at the moment. For P2, that is. They're getting some traffic in the way at the moment. That is not Fabian Sanchez who's leading this race. That's Felipe Sarkis, and we're looking at AJ Brenner.
Dean, I've got a dark sense of humour, but even that joke was too dark for me about being in shade.
Oh, all right. You wear your sunglasses at night, do you?
Might just need to turn a lamp on that one, possibly.
We can keep milking it, mate. Keep milking it.
Yeah, I will. Don't worry. I am a dairy
Whoa.
farmer at
You
heart.
gotta
I will
love it
milk
when
it as
there's
much as I like.
That gets in a nice little squabble battle as Blanchie also just manages to navigate around that turn 1 lap traffic. Jaden Callaway making some moves, as you mentioned there. Just gets past Leo Damas, and he is no slouch for the Frenchman to get past. But Jaden setting that fastest lap there, letting everybody, reminding the rest of the field here, say, hey, don't mess with me, my friend. I am in the junior Ferrari team. You got to say Ferrari like you're Italiano. And making some moves up through the field. So, what is the other Ferrari? And that's Noddy, because remember, he had to start from plump last, up 13 places currently at the moment, and he's on the back there of Michael Briscoe.
And Debe's had an incredible run. He's up 13 positions into P11 at the moment. As I said, he was the championship leader coming into Portland. He gave up crucial points to Felipe Sarkis in race number 1 this evening, thanks to the moment at turn 1 that took him out of the race. As Ferrari mechanics have been hard at work, they got the car back out on track for race 2, where it's maximum points on offer, and he wants to get as many as he can to try and claw back anything that he lost to Felipe in race number 1. As he's sitting on board now with Dustin Smith, he wants this job on Michael Briscoe as well, but he's not quite close enough to Briscoe to get that job done there. He'll be hoping to make Briscoe reach for the skies and Ruddy's way past. Oh, but it's an inside line for Michael. The next corner, it's an outside line for Smith. Wants it the long way around. Can't quite get it. And now he's going to have to do all the work into the braking zone of the next corner. Is he going to go for the send, though, Dean, and risk ending up in the clutches of the terrifying Michael Tyre Barrier?
Michael Tyre Barrier.
Yeah.
Leo Damas just boxed before there, so the Frenchman, after just getting the overtaken done, is going to get that pit stop over and done with. And now, as he's creeping very, very slowly down there, of course, to the lane speed limit. You can see a couple of those very dinged up cars. Not sure that even drivers are in them anymore. But Briscoe, of course, and Dustin Smith still at it too for now. Keep an eye on Noddy, but Noddy's trying to get that 3-second gap down to Larry Johnson at the moment, who's top up. Oh, no, that's Noddy. My apologies. There he is. So he's making some gains.
Yeah, 3/10. He's done well. Sometimes it can confuse you, Dean, based on who you've selected. It's like, oh yeah, they're that's 3 seconds ahead of this car, not 3 seconds behind them. And it's just to play tricks, as Callaway's now gotten past Zerha as well for P5 as his teammate Bianchi comes into pit lane. So Callaway's now corrected up to P4. Amel will get past both of them. If he goes long, could this play dividends for him in trying to get past both Zerha and Bianchi through his natural on-track pace here for Amel?
Very possible. To keep an eye on his lap times is the crucial, because they're all shy of a minute. 57.2s, 57.3 averages. Noddy had to do a 57.8 in those last couple of laps because he's had to do some overtakes, of course, so that does cost you a shade bit of time. Shade bit of time? His next up on his hit list is Shade. We won't step out of the shadows and into the spotlight with those puns anymore. Or would be.
I'm going to have to start hiding in dark alleys to hide from these jokes at this point, Dean. I mean, it is...
Overtake on for the first time. Sorry to cut you off there from Dustin Smith. You could see it. Oh, that's the only thing. He just used a ton of overtake there to get right on the back there, and you go, uh-oh, no, day late, dollar short. Couldn't quite make it hit. And so now you got to use that overtake. And is he too far back? I don't know. Sometimes you'd think it's too far back, but talks to them as drivers on the early lap sends into turn 1.
Yeah, he's a bit too far back. It's too tight of an entry for turn 1. I think what he needs to focus on now is just he's either got to try and just hit his marks and get right on the back of Johnson, run on the back of Briscoe, or possibly try and undercut him by pitting earlier, getting into clean air and letting his natural lap pace allow him to get past him through pit stop strategy. As Del Mar is on the comeback train after pitting early, he's dropped a spot to, or he's stayed behind Zerha, who pitted the lap later. And now he's trying to fight his way forward, possibly even use Zerha to his advantage. to try and bring them both forward up towards the top 5.
A couple of the drivers are struggling at the moment. Jade had gone into pit road.
Yeah, Jaden's in.
Jaden's, I think he's had an off track.
He's in, and he's dropped time.
Oh,
he's dropped
yeah,
big time. Oh, Michael Tyres claims another victim.
Never knew his name was Michael Tyres, but that's where you get the fold out. Definitely, that's where you get your fold out chair. 2 places to get your fold out chair if you want to get tickets, of course, to Portland and this race here tonight. Please remain behind the tyre barrier there of Michael's Tyres. But to get your fold out chair there, get a cup of cold one, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Get your popcorn. Sit there at the end of the final turn or into this turn here. Sit in that little runoff area there, thankfully, and enjoy some overtake moments or enjoy a car coming at you at 150 miles an hour or something like that as AJ Brenner goes into pit road.
I don't measure my speed in freedom, Dean. So, good old 240 kilometers or something, whatever it is.
Speed
150 miles. Yeah, speed and freedom. It's like how they refuel in freedom by measuring in gallons.
Job done there for Nottie up at a P3 currently in the moment, but yet to make a pit stop. So down into AJ's come out. Now, where's AJ come out? As AJ just come out now, he should be able to squeeze in ahead of Antonio Lanchi. So there it is. This is now... AJ would be essentially the net leader on pit stops, that is, but he is, what are we looking at, 34 seconds down the road there from Fabian Sanchez, our race leader.
He's got a bit of time to gain here, and it's appearing that it is roughly a 20...
Oh, well, he's gone slow. Yes, he has. He's dropped back currently to P7
Why?
now. He was right up in P3. He's gone off track
he's
somewhere.
Been off track. Yeah, he's been off track on lap 17. He spun round.
Yeah.
So easy to do, Dean. So easy to do at that point of the track, and a little bit heartbreaking for him. He's had such a good comeback thus far in this race, but now he's going to have more work to do in the second half as we head up towards the halfway mark of lap 20. We're on lap 18 at this stage of the race. Sanchez leads the way. Sarkis P2, Bruffett, Johnson, and Briscoe the 5. Those guys all need a pit stop though. As the top seeded pit stop at the moment is AJ Brenner, who came in on lap 16. So he has stayed ahead of Bianchi through the pit stops. And now the pressure is on the likes of Sarkis and Sanchez at the front of the field to remain in the lead of this race.
Here he is currently at the moment, our race leader. That's the thing when you're a race leader and you're up the road by a couple of seconds. We don't get to point the camera at you too often. But when he comes back out, if he does come in soon, he will have to come out and get some overtakes done on track until the rest of those drivers box, and that's depending how quickly his times will go.
The beauty is of him being in the lead, Dean, he's not having to use overtake. So he's able to bank that overtake up and save it for when he has to defend, where the likes of Amel and Callaway and Brenner and Bianchi, they're using that every couple of laps to try and make moves done or try and stay with the battle pack that they're in. So that that's now that's a race winning strategy now for Sanchez, being at the front. I mean, not just obviously leading, that's obvious, but actually being able to save that that overtake for a rainy day as Sarkis comes in. So Felipe Sarkis into pit lane. His teammate Sanchez continues on. And I mean, Sarkis is in a similar position. He's been able to save up some overtake too. So don't be surprised if when we check in on him for the deployment of that overtake later in the race, that he's got an absolute whirlwind amount, because he's been able to hang it in the bank as Bianchi wants this job on Brenner. That was the latest turn-in and most ferocious turn-in I've ever seen. I think for a long, long time, the grip that car had and the confidence for the car to grip up as well there, Dean, that was extraordinary from Antonio Bianchi.
I was going to say, where is Felipe coming out? He's there. He's there. He's very lucky to get out ahead of these two battling as AJ gets spun. I was going to say, so he was very lucky to get out there. His team was like, you've got to go now, otherwise you're going to get caught with these two. So Felipe down into the up to P8, and that was a slight little contact with Bremer there. Let's have a look.
We'd have to argue he's probably still provisional P2 as well. So Brenner wanted the move on the inside, caught the curb.
Ooh.
Oh, a little bit of a touch, but I don't know if there's much in that, Dean. Realistically, I think for where's Bianchi going to go? Is he going to cut the corner? I mean, he's still alongside, and he's not technically the overtaking car as well, but it's just one of those things in racing. As Amel is now on the comeback train once again, P6, tucked in nicely behind Dustin Smith, who's still struggling to get past Briscoe. So he's still going long here, Dean, in hopes that he can maybe get the overtake done for Smith. But you almost have a feeling if he'd come in maybe a couple of laps ago, he could have pushed on, made some natural progression, and then actually gotten by Briscoe once he came into pit lane.
Yeah, he made that a little bit of a mistake. Remember, he got up to P3, and now he's going to come back there. He's like, I've already done this before. It feels like deja vu. I've already got past Dustin Smith. I've already got past Briscoe. But, that's what happens when you're absolutely pushing it to the absolute limits there of his Ferrari Super Formula. Not powered by Ferrari, but doing all again. He's a mastermind. Have a look at the way, as you're going to see Michael Briscoe head into pit road. Have a look at the way he nails turn 1 and turn 2. Like, he's pretty much a mastermind in this one. This is where he's getting up a lot of his time. You watch here. He's not going to get Dustin Smith for the OT, but look how he slices through. Look how close it's right up there. I'd have to say, but Dustin Smith probably did nail that one himself there.
Yeah, he almost gives up the exit the exit acceleration to carry the speed through the corner more. He's not quite balancing it too much, but he's managed to stay with Dustin there, who almost maximized his exit more so than he's run through the corner. And that's one of the more difficult balancing acts, especially in this car, Dean, of understanding where you want to maximize corner pace and where you want to maximize corner exit speed as well. There's certain corners where it can pay off for you just that little bit better out on track. And at the moment, I mean, both drivers are almost displaying both mindsets, both approaches to the circuit as Mel comes in. So he wants to try and undercut Smith here in the pit stop, and that's a smart play from him because he does not want to get caught up behind Dustin for too long. It's just going to really drain the time that he would have to the cars in behind him. So he's coming a bit earlier as Sarkis comes past for P6 now on the road. Is Amel going to come out ahead of Brennan? No, he's not. So Bianchi and Brenner get past him. What about Delmar and Serha as Amel is exiting pits? Delmar and Zerha have gotten past him, so he's now P12 on the road for Ndive Amel. He is ahead of Jaden Callaway, who is out of this race, Dean. Callaway is still in pit lane and is out at this stage.
Very interesting. So, yeah, he'll come back out P13, so he's got everything to go for. If he's saved up a ton of that energy. Didn't see him deploying. You can see currently at the moment, Briscoe is deploying some of that energy, that overtake, to probably maintain that the gap between him and Nodi Mel. Interesting on this one. So Felipe did get past Nick Peterson, so he needed that one because Nick still has to head in pit road. So Felipe is battling it out currently at the moment, setting the fastest sector 4 as well. He is trying to get that gap down. 37 seconds is the gap between him and Fabian. Now, pit stops have been around 38 seconds for some of these drivers. 35 seconds, 34 seconds. So will it be enough to take the lead? Remember, Fabian probably... Oh, looks like Fabian had used some of his overtake. So he's trying to cover off the potential undercut here.
Yeah, he wants to try and cover any undercut, although the undercut would only be on his teammate Felipe, but I think he's just trying to cover any time that he may lose by going a bit longer to the cars that were behind him in the likes of Bianchi and Brenner. I think Fabian knows that Felipe is the one, obviously, who now would lead the championship, and he knows that Felipe is the one who is battling for that title. I mean, Fabian's no slouch, so he is P8 in the championship prior to this round. As I mentioned, Sarkis did take the lead as of race 1. He was only 5 points behind Amel prior to race 1 occurring. Callaway is going to be a big loser now out of this. He was P3 in the championship, but now that he's all the way back in P17 in this race, he's not maximising points in the big boy race. Brenner's also going to be a big gainer too here, Dean. He's, of course, still in this race. He's still in contention for a podium and can find his way, fighting his way forward, possibly even further up inside the top 5 in the championship standings.
Shade's gone in. So Shane Bruffett has gone in, and Larry Johnson behind him. So P2 and P3 are heading in. But these drivers will pass them very much soon as they come around into Sector 4. It'll be interesting. So Blanchie wants to get past. So you remember Nick Peterson, that's still out here at the moment. He still has to head into pit road at some point. But that's not what Antonio's thinking about. Antonio's thinking about the Brazilian up the road there of Felipe Sarkis. So there they go. They'll all zoom past Pete Shade and Larry Johnson now.
And Bianchi will get let past by Nick Peterson, who's probably trying to save some fuel and maximise his run in this race. So the moment for Amel has really cost him because he's now behind the likes of Johnson and Del Mar and Bruffett and Zerha and Briscoe all ahead of him. The question is, does Smith end up back behind him as well? Or does Smith stay ahead and does Smith gain on Briscoe, or is Briscoe gained on him by undercutting that battle?
And just keep an eye on the gap there on the timing tower now, so you can see from Felipe, it's 38 seconds to our race leader. Dustin Smith's gone in now. So this is going to answer your questions that you've been asking. Too. This is the thing too as well. Felipe's got... Oh, there's a spinner on the exit.
Yeah, it's Cameron Keel. It's Cameron Keel who's had a moment at the final corner. He's kept it going though. Smith is in. So we need to keep some focus now on Briscoe. I've got him. I'm watching him on my end. He's coming up towards the braking zone of the final chicane and in towards the final corner. And he's got Ndibe Amel hot on his heels as well. So Smith is now just exiting pit road. So this is going to be tight. Although I think Smith may get him. He has.
Yep.
But it's going to be tight into turn one. So Smith's gotten him. And he's managed to stay ahead of Amel as Sanchez, the race leader's into pit road as well. Yeah. So Amel is he's now caught out behind the lap traffic of that was the colour that went around before, Cameron Keel. But he did get the job done on Michael Briscoe.
Antonio Blanche has caught the back there of Felipe now that he's cleared Nick as well. So that's a good little battle. Is it enough here for Felipe to try to cover off Fabian?
He's going to have to. Fabian's come out in the lead out of the pit stop. Yeah. So that's played out well for him again. He not only that, he's also saved the overtake, as we mentioned. He's used a bit of it, but he has saved a lot. So if these guys end up catching him, he can defend. Turnbull is out of sync. He needs a pit stop, as does Nick Peterson in P5. So corrected order at the moment, at least for the top five, is Sanchez, Sarkis, Bianchi, Brenner, and Bruffett for the top five on the road at the moment. But Bruffett is under pressure from Leo Del Mar and from Shaji Zerha, as we ride on board with Antonio Bianchi in behind Felipe Sarkis at the moment, down towards the braking zone of the fast-paced chicane before the Michael Tyers serial killer corner at the end of the Portland International Raceway.
From P2, there's you just see him hitting the entrance to the pit road right now. Absolutely out of sync, you'd mention.
And Pedersen's in too.
Pedersen.
So they've probably gone as long as they can, I would say, Dino. I think they've really used as much as they can in that fuel tank. As Bianchi, there's contact with Sarkis. The championship leader has had contact made with Antonio Bianchi. And how much damage is on both of their cars? Bianchi's got maximum damage. He'll need to pit. But for Sarkis, he seems to actually come off pretty well unscathed.
Yeah. Just trying to look.
So.
Oh, he's still fighting it. He's still fighting it. So it's just
He's still fighting. Why are you fighting? Antonio, why are you fighting it?
I think, I don't know, AJ's going to be approaching them pretty quickly as well, too. There's a lap car in between them. But he's fighting him.
He's fighting him with no front wing.
I don't think this is the end of this. I do not think it's the end of it.
After almost killing his race, he's still fighting it, and he's not happy. He's not happy. No. I mean, what? And can you blame him? Realistically, I mean, in that position, you'd be a little bit hot under the collar too. As Brenner now wants it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think
and there was that lap traffic
damage.
It's either that or he played the smart game of he wants to make this 3 wide, just let him have it and fight another day. There's still 11 laps to go.
That's true.
So playing the smart game is Felipe Sarkis. I think he may also maybe want to try and just consolidate P3 because he knows that he's now gaining on Amel, Merchant, Callaway and Bianchi as well. So he is gaining on all those other championship contenders other than his teammate Sanchez and Brenner. But Sarkis he's still in a good spot and he's still in a good position. If he finishes where he is, he should leave Portland as the championship leader. So, you know, it is only round 3, and Long Beach is that's gonna be a major X factor of who may be in championship contention. But it could end up quite well for him as Saji Zerha and DB and Mel continue their battle now into the main straight. So Mel putting major pressure on him. He knows he's not got a lot left to get this job done. It's 10 laps to go for these drivers, and Mel's going to try and get a wriggle on.
Look where he starts to pull his overtake. Right in the... Oh, but he probably caught himself off guard, but he's in the overtake there because he's gone too deep into the corner. Desperately trying to defend from Noddy and just couldn't just connect it. That, to me, probably a little bit of defensive mirror driving on that one and not focusing on his own. I thought he did deploy that overtake in a good spot there, right at the point where, you know, Noddy'd be throwing that one in. But we're going to have to go up to this fantastic squabble because here comes Shade on Felipe. Gets the job done there. So Shade Bruffett up into the final podium step at this point. Leo still in the mix, Damar there, and Felipe. I'm thinking still that Felipe looks like he might have some damage, isn't it, on the Kraken Racing entrance?
Is it maybe on the front wing, possibly, where there's that damage?
It
looks pretty clean, unless it's side pod issue.
Well, you saw him struggling originally to overtake Blanchi that had no front wing as well. Yeah, Damar's all over him here. You got to say, from the pace that Felipe had earlier, it seems to have scrubbed off, and look at that, he can barely make it stick in the corner there, and he's going to have to scrabble in behind it. It's just going to be on damage limitation at this one. You just got to bring it home, isn't it? At this point, you've got, give or take, 9 laps to go, a solid P5. He's got a gap of 6 seconds or so to Larry Johnson in P6, so should be able to maintain that. We'll keep an eye on those times.
I would be really worried. And it would be damage dependent. I'd be really worried if Larry passes him in this race. So let's watch. So they run through. Bianchi locks up.
It's hard to say.
I mean, Felipe wanted to try and fight it. It almost seems like a racing incident between both of them.
And for good measure, you see the damage on the rear there. That's got to be something.
Yeah, I'd say it's either side pod, maybe underfloor, or that rear. Is definitely carrying something, I would say. So let's watch it again. So that's fine. He turns in a little bit too tight, and there's contact made. So
you kind of wonder if you should just allow a little bit more space there, because you know that he might be. You saw the puff of lock up there. So
he had a broken wheel, and then it's self-fixed.
Yeah.
So that's why he's probably carrying damage, is it's self-fixed itself, and now the car just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, good mechanics, isn't it? Jump out there and replace the tyre on the go.
That's, you know, when you got nanobot technology, that's what you can do. But yeah, I'd say, I mean, you know, and it's easy to make a claim on one look, and we made that claim initially, but you look at it a couple of times and you very easily discover different things about the incident, you know, that he turned in a little bit, you know, he turned in, didn't leave enough space, but also Antonio dived on the inside of the next corner too. Whole heap of moving parts in that one. For me, as someone who's done a little bit of race control before, I think it'd just be a racing incident realistically, Dean. I think it's both of them probably had a part to play in it, and it's, you know, it takes 2 to tango at the end of the day, and it takes 2 to crash.
Absolutely. It's a hot zone. It's an overtaken opportunity for drivers that they are going to risk it for the biscuit quite a bit. And on top of it, you're right, race control, you got to always look at things at multiple angles and things like that. And not just that, but sometimes you got to look at previous laps. There could have been very close contact between the drivers there. So this is beef that's been brewing currently. It's like a stew. It's been brewing a little bit over time there. So you have to take that into factor as well, too, because it could have been slight contact. It could have been a little bit of mismoving under braking and stuff like that we haven't necessarily caught on the broadcast. But race control would look over that one with a fine-tooth comb, looking for... what is it, like lice in your hair, if you had any. But that's the situation as Noddy sets the fastest lap there for the Ferrari number 99. But he's got a long way to go if he wants to catch the man that's been dominating this race currently at the moment, Mr. Fabian Sanchez. After he's taken his pit stop, came in and out ahead of everybody else, including even Nick, wasn't it? That was no, not Nick. Who was the other driver that was running in P2 for some time? That took
Felipe.
that, no, the driver running in P2 that had a long pit, a longer.
That was James Turnbull.
James Turnbull, yeah, who ended up coming back out in P11 at the moment, but up 11 places.
He is up 11 places at this stage. I should have compounded the fact of, do we have less than 10 cars finishing on the lead lap, Dean? Not less than 10 cars.
Oh, you can't change it now. No,
I
you
can't.
locked in, Eddie.
I can't. I did lock it in, Eddie. I mean, we're 5 cars away from that happening, but I don't see that happening in the next 4 laps as Mr. Sanchez is about to start his 37th lap of this race. Leo Del Mar down towards the braking zone, still trying to chase down Shade Buffett at the moment. Sarkis is inside of the top 5. He has got a 3.2 second gap now back to Larry Johnson with 4 laps to go. So is there pressure on him at this point to try and perform as Nick Pedersen is on the back of James Turnbull? This is the battle for P11 as we ride on board.
That'll be a late send.
Yeah, it wasn't quite willing to do it, especially this late in the race. Doesn't really seem worth it to throw it all away for one move. Overtakes on though.
Yep.
But again, he's and I think that's the issue. He hasn't, he's gone in deep and then he's given up time through the corner. It almost seems you're better off braking that little bit early, carrying a little bit more speed through the corner, and then hanging with him to deploy the overtake onto the straight instead of getting up right in behind and then losing more time by having to brake harder and avoiding.
These two boxed on the same lap back in lap 28 as well. So you can see too that James is also deploying the overtake to try to defend as much as possible. He's still working tooth and nail, see if they can catch Dustin Smith to get that final P10 position.
Gonna point out as well, the gap is shrinking to Sarkis from Johnson. It's now down to 2 seconds. And Amel is hot on the heels of Johnson at the moment. So Amel now wants this job done in towards turn 1, gets it done.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, there's now pressure that Sarkis may drop 2 more positions in this race with only a couple of laps to go, because Amel's got pace. Yes. Johnson showed he's got pace tonight, and Sarkis is running around in a wounded car. So It almost seems like especially with the lap traffic still hot on the heels of Sarkis at the moment, it seems like almost not an impossibility for him to stay ahead, but the likelihood of them getting past is now very high.
Yeah, look at the lap times at the moment there. Sarkis is doing 58s, whereas Amel's doing 57s, and he's just going to drive on by like nothing.
Donahue got past him like it was nothing. Amel's gotten past him like it was nothing. Sarkis just let them go. So I think he's
past him.
He's playing this. I think Felipe's playing the survival game at the moment. He's let them past. He's, just trying to stay with them and trying to get crucial points in this race.
Now, who else could he be on attack from? Sajay, perhaps further down there?
No, not 5.3 seconds. And 2 laps left. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think the last one's going to be Larry. At this stage of the race, he'll probably try and get him into the chicane. I would say.
Larry Johnson, Lazar, whatever you call him, if you're shortening up, if you're Australian. Further back in the field there, we do have KH Donahue there on the back there of Vitoro.
It's the white flag as well for Sanchez at the front of the field. He's just entered turn 1-2. So not much more Donahue can do, who is battling with Arturo Mayorga in their positions. Mayorga's a bit... he's about 0.7 back off him. As final lap for these drivers, Amel and Sark are still battling away. Johnson wants to try and get the job done to get up to P6. But Fabian Sanchez, though, who comes down towards the final sector here, he's only got 2 more corners to go before he claims the victory in race number 2 this evening, and an immense amount of points on the board for him leading into Long Beach next week, where it's going to survival is going to be absolutely crucial as he runs onto the main straight. Fabian Sanchez takes the win in race number 2 here this evening. Barney waving the flag very lazily, I must say. AJ Brenner down towards the line now will take P2 in this race this evening. Shade Bruffett comes home in P3. with Leo Del Mar inside of the top 5. Amel, what a comeback for him, Dean, up 19 positions. Is going to come home P5. Felipe Sarkis is trying to hold off Larry Johnson to the line. It's a drag race for them. Sarkis gets home by 500ths of a second.
Wow.
Zerha inside of the 10. Briscoe and Dustin Smith make up the running order for that top 10 positions, with Pedersen, Turnbull hot on his heels, and then Donahue, Mayorga, and Keel, the last of the finishers.
You did have the rest of them moving retirements as well, too, all the way down. But some big names in there. Blanchie, Holloway, Rob Morris, Chase Meyer, Gale Rolls there, Xavier. We saw McAllister go up on his lid there, the the only Australian driver on the grid there. David, I'm not going to pronounce his surname for the West Coast Racing. And sorry? Schikernik, yep. And we'll get that one. And that's it. That is your 15-car field that finished the race from the 24 that started.
Wow, 15 cars. I should have added 5 more to my prediction.
Yes, sir.
It said should have 15 or less finishes. But regardless, that was a good race at Portland. Next week at Long Beach is going to be maximum pressure on these drivers as well. That's going to be a must-perform race, especially for those who had a poor run here tonight. Your finishes, though, on the field here this evening: Fabian Sanchez, AJ Brenner, and Shade Bruffett for your podium. Leo Del Mar and DB Amel for the top 5. Felipe Sarkis, Larry Johnson, Sergey Zerha, Michael Briscoe, and Dustin Smith for the 10. Nick Pedersen and James Turnbull were the last 2 drivers on the lead lap, with KH Johnny Huad, Tudo Mayorga, and Cameron Keel the last of the finishers, a lap down. Antonio Bianchi, Jaden Calloway, Jace Meyer, Brock Morris, Gale Rolls, Xavier Cernat, Gareth McAllister, David Schikernik, and Ryan Tilbor at the back end of the field.
What a race. Well, from Fabian, it was absolute perfecto. I didn't think he got the fastest lap, but to get the trifecta. And going back, of course, to our Heat 1 results really quickly to review that one.
So Antonio Bianchi, AJ Brenner, Felipe Sarkis. Brenner, I believe, would have won the round, being that he was P2 in both races. Callaway, Sanchez, the top 5. Del Mar, Briscoe, Zerha, Donahue, Bruff at the top 10. McAllister, Johnson, Mayorga, Schikernik, and Tilbor were the top 15. Brock Morris, Xavier Cernat, the top 17. Keel and Smith were a lap down in that one. And Gal Rolls, Jace Meyer, James Turnbull, Nick Patterson, and Ndibe Amel at the back of the field.
What's up next? Wow.
Long Beach. Concrete jungle. It's some might say death. I would say fireworks. Dean, I love Long Beach. Next week is going to be unmissable for season 14 of the League Zero Formula Series. It's presented, of course, by Inca Salsa, fresh homemade salsa, as well as Critical Video, MSR Performance Engineering, and Goon Squad as well. We appreciate everyone's time. Appreciate everyone being here with us once again. Next week, round 4, April 10th, Long Beach Street Circuit for 2 races once again. It's going to be unmissable action in the Super Formula Championship cars of League Zero. For myself, Hamish, Munro, and Dean Biggles alongside, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you being here once again tonight. The honours went to the likes of Fabian Sanchez and AJ Brenner and Shade Bruffett. Brenner winning the round, Sanchez winning the feature. Antonio Bianchi won the heat as well, but appreciate your time. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. The bell icon as well, so you're notified whenever we go racing here on JP Broadcasting, with a world tour of racing series across iRacing and others as well. We appreciate everyone that has been giving us the support so far this season. We've got more to come throughout April and then the rest of 2025 too, so be sure to stick around. We're sure we'll have something for you in the calendar. But as I said, I've been Hamish Munro with Dean Biggles. We'll see you guys next time for round 4 out at Long Beach next week. Until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.